Good afternoon, welcome to Love Answers. I hope you're all doing amazing. For those of you that are new to my channel, everything on this channel is about healing from heartbreak and overcoming loss. And I provide tips and tools and techniques to accelerate the healing from heartbreak. So although people say time is the greatest healer, I believe that we can accelerate that process of healing and we can alleviate the suffering, because when we go through heartbreak, we tend to hang on to the emotions, we hang on to the loss, and we deplete ourselves, we lose ourselves, and we suffer. And I believe that, you know, we do suffer unnecessarily. And the only reason I say this is because, you know, I've been through heartbreak on many different levels, and whether it's losing a pet or losing a parent or losing a relationship, on many different levels. And I think each one of them I've dealt with it very differently. Obviously at different stages of your life you do deal with things differently, but from all of the heartbreaks that I've had and from what I teach on in my day job, which is based on spirituality and healing and well-being, what I've learned is there are tools and techniques to accelerate that process so that you don't have to suffer. It doesn't mean you don't feel the pain. It doesn't mean you don't cry the tears. Of course you cry the tears, but what you don't do, you don't stay stuck in that stagnant situation that takes precious lifetime. So I'm going to talk about the chapter that, if you've followed the channel, that you will have just read, which is called My Heart Will Go On. Now, the purpose of doing these videos is to show how I see things now. This is 10 years later. So the book chapters are based on something that happened 10 years ago. And what I'm sharing now is my view on how I see that situation and what I've learned from that situation. So My Heart Will Go On, that chapter is about, it's basically, if you take it to the core, it's about a life-changing moment in a physical fall that created a loss. And the physical fall was caused by someone else, which was my mother, which was an accident. But obviously when you go through something like that, where there's a huge loss and someone that's very close to you was the catalyst in it, then there's many different emotions. There's the emotions of the heartbreak of the loss, and there's also the emotions of resentment, frustration, blame on the person that was the catalyst in that situation. And I think when I actually wrote that chapter, it was very much about the situation. It was in a amazing concert and it was like a lovely moment, and I was going through the heartbreak, the healing from the heartbreak. So I was in a very emotional state, and then that happened, and then all of a sudden everything came tumbling down. And when I look at it now, the one thing that I take from it is the last line of that chapter, which is my heart will go on and on and on and on. And I think sitting here today, not only does the heart go on, if you deal with the healing in a positive way, in a way of bringing your healing to yourself and making yourself the absolute focus, so no one else. When you're going through heartbreak, I think one of the most important things is to actually take your attention to yourself and to give attention to yourself, to understand yourself, to give time to yourself, to allow yourself to heal, but not to sit back and allow yourself to heal, to actually take action. When we take action, we move forwards out of the stagnant situation that we're in. And it's probably the hardest time to take action when you're going through heartbreak. But sitting here today, it's the absolute most essential thing of when you're going through a heartbreaking situation, is to take action, to do something that takes you out of your comfort zone, that takes you into the unknown, that takes you to something new, something refreshing, something different. Even if you don't feel it when you're doing it, even if it's just going through the motions, there's so much importance on, I can't stress the amount of importance on actually taking action to do something that's completely different, that's completely out of anything you've done before. If you can hear the squeaking in the background, it's actually sorry, it's actually a baby seagull, and the mother and father have been, I live near the water, and the mother and father come onto my balcony, and I've learned so much about seagulls. It's amazing. They're kind of the most amazing birds, amazing parents, so protective, so nurturing. And seagulls, before I didn't, for years, a seagull was a seagull. I'd never hurt an animal, but I never understood the absolute intelligence and intellect that these birds have. But so anyway, they had the babies, and all the other babies have flown, but this baby is sort of slow, and it likes the balcony, but whenever I'm talking, it decides to squawk. And now I'm explaining that, it stopped. Super intelligent. Anyway, going back to my heart will go on. It will, and not only will it go on, it will become so strong that you can look back at your heartbreak as an absolute 100% valuable experience that has absolutely led to your growth. But if you go through heartbreak, and this is just based on my own experience, this isn't, written as a law, it's my own experience, and this is how it's worked for me, and how it's worked, and also how it's worked for people that I work with, that I've kind of helped and guided. It's accelerated that healing process, and in that process, if you stay in that situation where it's stagnant and it's aching for whatever you've lost, and you feel that your life's never going to be the same and you can't go on, if you stay in that situation, when you arrive 10 years down the line, you're going to look back and go, oh my gosh, what have I done? Because that situation that happens will not have that same meaning in 10 years time. It will be a different meaning. It will have a different feeling. So, you can sit there and just wait and feel heavy and burdened, or you can stand up, take action, do things that will alleviate your suffering so your life is more peaceful, and in each moment it becomes a little bit more peaceful and a bit more content, and then your world opens up. New doors open, new people come into your life, new things come into your life. And some of you that are going through heartbreak at the moment, sending out a huge hug to you, because I know exactly what it feels like. But those of you that are going through it at the moment, and you're listening to this and you're thinking, it's rubbish, it's absolutely nonsense, there's no way in a million years I'm ever going to feel okay. Sitting here today, I can 100% tell you that you will, and you can. And if you channel what you're feeling into something, whether it's your career, whether it's creativity, whether it's anything that brings life, and I'll go more into this in my course. I don't want to go into it now because it's quite in depth, but when you actually channel that energy, you'll look back and go, oh my gosh, that heartbreak was one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life. And you'll see it so differently, and you'll see the person differently, you'll see the situation differently, you'll understand it differently, because the more you connect with you, the more elevated you become. The more you connect to your higher purpose and your higher power, the more you're in that zone, you see it from a totally different perspective. And when we're in something, it's like when the characters you know, in a book, they're in the book. But if the character were to step outside the book and read the book looking at themselves, they see it from a different perspective. That's exactly what happens when you take action to accelerate your healing process. And I hope that makes sense. And like I say, in the course that I'm going to be running, I'm going to break all of this down so that you get each step to do in the healing process, how you go about accelerating that, plus very simple techniques to help you to speed that process up. But not in a way that I'm going to speed it up and I'm going to forget it ever happened. No, it's the complete opposite. You're going to accelerate the healing, but what you are also going to do, you're going to heal on the deepest level. So when we think about accelerating something, we go really fast and accelerate it, but we kind of just close a door on it and move on. It's not about that. It's about healing on the deepest level and accelerating. So when you do get to where you want to go, say for example, I'm sitting here looking back 10 years ago, you actually see it from a place of love and compassion and thankfulness and gratefulness, and with no resentment, no anger, no disappointment, no fear. Because in heartbreak there's fear. Fear is the greatest thing in heartbreak, because we're in a situation where we feel alone and we've lost something we love, so we become fearful. And when you overcome that fear and alleviate that fear, then you can accelerate the whole healing process. So that chapter in the book, My Heart Will Go On, I'm grateful to that chapter. I'm grateful to that moment. I sit and I can even laugh at it now, in a very balanced way, in a way that, yes, it was a horrific moment and it was a horrific situation, but at the same time, somewhere deep inside me, and this is really important as well, somewhere deep inside me when I wrote this, which was back then, was my heart will go on and on. Somewhere inside I knew. And when I sit here today, did my heart go on? My heart not only went on, my heart became stronger. My heart became more open. My heart became more compassionate. My heart became more healing to myself and to others. So yeah, it's an absolutely amazing journey, and I decided to do it this way. Originally I was just going to start with doing cards and my views on love and heartbreak and what love is, but I've decided to do it this way because I think it's so hard when someone's going through heartbreak to say it will get better and you won't always feel like this. And I think people find it so hard to believe that when they're going through loss. And why I wanted to share my story was to absolutely show that I was on my knees. And today I can look back at it and say I'm thankful for that. And not only am I thankful, I understand why it happened the way it happened. And when we understand, the fear goes away. Okay, so I hope that helped. And like I say, in my course, I'll be going deeper into each element. What I'm going to also do is I'm going to do some love answers cards here, and I'm just going to kind of connect us to nature, because nature was my greatest healer. And I'll explain that in the course. And also, what I'm going to also start to do is to do some love is shorts. So these will be love is cards, but on YouTube shorts. So they'll just be little moments, one word on what love is and my views on it. So check those out too. And I'll probably be doing the story and the love answers on the weekend, and then the love is in the week. Okay, so let me just shake a few of these up. So also remember to light a candle, always light a candle every day. Wherever you are, it just brings light, and subliminally it brings good energy, it brings protection, and it just makes you feel calmer. Even if the candle's in the room and it's on and you're not necessarily looking at it, you'll just feel that energy. And also I have my little teapot here. I haven't got any tea today because I've got a call to do, so I'm in a bit of a rush moment. But always make yourself, you know, remember to take a moment, like with a cup of tea, or whether it's a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, a hot chocolate, whatever you drink, whatever you love. When you drink it, take a moment to absolutely, for that time that you drink that tea, to sit with no phone, no computer, nothing, just the tea and your thoughts. And you'll be amazed how just having that moment, and maybe a notepad next to you to write down your thoughts, just having a tea in a very mindful way, one, makes the experience so much more pleasurable, but secondly, it gives your head space. It gives you headspace to think. And even just those little moments in the day will be amazing in helping your healing. But it's so important to turn your computer off, put your phone away, make the tea, sit down with the tea, whether you have a biscuit or whatever you have with it, but just sit in that moment and enjoy that moment. Just have that moment for you, for your thinking time, for your writing time, for putting down your thoughts, for clearing the clutter in your head, just freeing up your mind and your emotions just for a second. And trust me, the tea will taste so different, and the biscuit too. Okay, so let me just do some love answers. Okay, so the first one, oops, let's put that there. Thank you, because we want to thank the universe, thank nature for everything that we get from her. So, water. I love water. And for example, the candle's called Crystal Waters because it smells like the ocean. It's funny this card came out. Okay, so when we go through healing, I think it was Bruce Lee who said it. I think it's one of my favorite quotes. It's like, be like water. And if you can be like water, everything's simple. Because what does water do? It goes with the flow. When it hits something, it finds its way around. If you see water with a rock, it finds a path. It always finds a way through. Water can be still, it can be calm, it can be turbulent, it can be ferocious, it can be beautiful, it can be still, it can be silent, it can be splendid, and it can be spectacular. You know, when you see waves rolling, people surfing on the waves, you know, to think of the power in the water. And we're made up of water. I think it's 97% of us are water. You have that power. You have exactly the same power as the ocean. You have, and every time you go into kind of some like emotional spiral, take yourself to water. It's so important. Take yourself to any water, even if you're not near water. Get into the bath, get into the shower, and think about water. Think about how it flows, how it cleanses, how it clears, how it calms, how it rejuvenates, revitalizes. Just take a moment to think about it. You know, and I think that's one of the, when you're going through heartbreak, also you're kind of consumed by the tears, the emotion, the crying, the pulling the covers over your head in bed, and not wanting to get out, not wanting to speak to anyone. And I think standing in a shower and crying your tears is one of the most cleansing things you can do in the world, because the water washes away the tears. And when you have the shower, think about the water washing away tears. It's cleansing you, it's clearing you, it's a letting go, to let go of the old to make way for the new. But if you can get out near water, I actually live on the water, and you know, when you actually observe the water, take yourself to a lake, take yourself to a river, and sit there and just think about how in this moment, with whatever you're feeling, how are you like water? How close to the water are you? And just take a moment to observe. Because when we're going through heartbreak, that's all we can do. We're so consumed by emotions. that all we can do really is just observe what's going on around us. We do a lot of observing because we don't want to speak. We don't want to communicate with people. We don't want to interact with people. Sorry, that's me hitting that. We don't want to interact with people. And I think just observing is healing. You know, think of it as a lesson of learning about life. Just observe what's around you. And be grateful and be thankful. And I know when you're going through heartbreak, whether you've lost someone, whether it's romantic heartbreak, whatever it is, you can feel angry, you can feel hateful, you can feel all of the challenging emotions. But remember, they're temporary. Like a train passing through a station. It comes into the station, it leaves the station. It's the same with the negative, angry, hateful emotions. You know, what we don't want to do is hang on to those emotions. They're going to surface. And sometimes they feel good, because when you feel angry, you feel like no one can touch you. No one's going to come close to you. No one's going to invade your space. No one's going to get close to your heart. No one's going to hurt you. But in doing that, you actually hurt yourself, because anger hurts. When you're feeling anger, 90% of it is hurt and 10% of it is power. So, you know, just take a moment to have a cup of tea mindfully with your biscuit, with your tea. Take a moment to just put your phone and laptop away, light a candle and go near water. If you do that for a month, you will feel completely different just by doing those things. But like I say, I'm doing a course and we will go way, way, way deeper in the course. So I hope this video helped. I hope you find things useful, and if you do like it, please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And have an amazing day. Stay strong, stay focused, and stay happy. And I'll see you again soon. Take care.